So yesterday I attempted to cover part two of Hovind's now three-part diatribe against Holy Koolaid and his commentary on the Noah's Ark story. And it was atrocious. Not what I was producing, but the quality of the video from Dinosaur Adventureland. Instead of having the gain cranked all the way up to where you get constant background noise and can hear Hovind at least, they instead had the gain down all the way. So he was quiet as anything. And then when he actually did get around to playing any of Holy Kool-Aid's video, it was deafeningly loud. So the mixing was absolute garbage. Now, incidentally, that video didn't make its way to Rumble and a couple of other sources because Restream sometimes messes up on the whole multicast aspect. So it's kind of nice in that you're not actually missing anything when it comes to that. There's nothing of value in the video. It is just an absolute pain. The audio on video 3 is at least better, sort of normal. So we're going to go on and hit that one, do the thing we always do with it, and just see what kind of garbage Hovind says. Well, not today, last night. Let's do it to it.
Good evening, folks. Ken Hovind here in the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama. It is May 23rd, 2025. We have got a bunch of visitors here today. And actually, for the next week, a bunch of people just keep coming. Come on down.
I'm sure they do, and no, I'm not coming down. Something I wanted to point out, now that I just thought about it, was if you scroll down to the comments, people complaining about the sound is bad. If they think the sound's bad in this one, they should have seen the other one, and they took down part 2. Who is they? Are you trying to imply the mysterious they took down part 2? Or are you implying Hovind and them? They didn't, because it was never uploaded. It was never on Rumble. All right? So, yeah, that's the intelligence of who we're dealing with on the Hovindite camp.
Down, see the place. It's amazing. It's free. What else you want? Anyway, tonight, another whacking atheist. We're going to have to whack this Holy Kool-Aid guy, Thomas, Doubting Thomas, one more time, probably several more times. Poor guy. He needs it. He's not listening. So this will be number 3 about...
Kent, you talk about him not listening. You realize you're spending 40, 80... By the time this is done, you'll have spent 120 minutes reacting to the same video in 3 consecutive days. Acting as if he's actively listening, that you're having an actual conversation. You're not. He still doesn't get it. Just makes you sound deranged. I mean, you are, but it really evidently, for anybody who thinks about it, you understand you're reacting to a video, right? I understand I'm reacting to a video. I say this in a metaphorical way, as if you were to somehow watch this after the fact. But I don't expect you to actually respond, to actually, by the end of this stream, me to be like, Hovind still doesn't get it, and mean it in the way you mean it. It's just weird, dude. Everything you do is just weird. Not the cool kind of weird.
Noah's Ark. He thinks the story is crazy. Well, I think his story is crazy. So we're on a bunch of channels. We're on Rumble, on Twitter, on our X, on get our app. Let's see, Facebook. TikTok takes us down. Whenever I say something mean, they take us down to the app or something else, okay? I mean, you keep TikTok in case they do decide to show us again. Forget them. All right, Instagram, and there you go. Go to one of those and get on.
Whoa. Okay. Well, that's at least something actually legible. Still, it's a bit much. Also, your website is not an app. The app is the app. That's just a website. Oh, man. So much going on. And, of course, appealing to kids with the cartoony dinosaurs. Showing them with the sharp pointed teeth, even though this is supposed to be them in a garden, and the Garden of Eden by Iron Butterfly. Also, as for TikTok taking you down, private company, they can do what they want. Get the fuck over it. Cry me a river. Try to obey, actual terms of service. Of course, then again, you don't even obey the terms of service that your own deity comes up with because you find convenient loopholes or make up your own convenient loopholes. Oh, it's fine when Hovind does it, but it's bad when everything else happens.
On KenHovind.tv. We're paying $6,000 a year to keep the thing, so if you want to help with that, that'd be great. But just it's free. Get on there for free. Here we are, May 23rd. Holy Koolaid again. Thomas, you're going to get it, brother. Okay. Come join us in July 6th up at Noah's Ark in Kentucky. Can't have Noah's Ark 6th on a Sunday. We're going to go up there halfway between Cincinnati and Lexington, and there's Louisville, Kentucky. There's the Ark Encounter. Our dinosaur Adventureland is 140 acres. We're building our own miniature one-third scale model, Noah's Ark. If you want a carpenter, want to come help with that, please do. And be sure to get my open letter to Donald Trump last February 1st on all the different channels and read that, and then respond to all the atheist channels. Hovind's a tax protester. Well, first place, this country was started by tax protesters. Nothing wrong with that. Throw the tea in the harbor. But I'm not.
Kent Hovind here demonstrating he doesn't actually understand what the point of the Revolutionary War was. It actually, and you're going to be amazed by this, it wasn't about the taxes. It was about being considered basically second rate in the empire. A part of that was taxation, hence the no taxation without representation motif that spawns from that. We were sick and tired of being under the control of a power many thousands of, a couple thousand miles away, and yet we weren't treated the same. There was a discrepancy between what was provided and what we got. And we kind of said, screw this. And I'm noticing a lot of parallels to a lot of social situations today. And I can only hope the situation continues. Up to and including me reminding everyone that, oh fuck, what's his name? The Mangione guy did the thing in December. He did nothing wrong.
No, I didn't break any laws at all. They put me in prison for 9 years. Now's the time to get this new czar, the pardon czar.
There we go. Also, again, pardon czar, that's pretty damn loaded and says a lot more than you think about the way y'all want to actually do things. Luigi Mangione did nothing wrong. Prove me wrong.
To look at my case and say, look, at least pardon the guy and overturn the case and make them pay back the money they stole. So please help me with that if you would. Okay.
Yes, the money they stole. They didn't steal your money, Kent. Honestly, you owe far more to the other 300 million Americans out there than we got out of your sorry ass during that. So you won't even apologize. You won't even admit you were wrong. What a man-child.
Okay. Help us to open for free. Join our 777 Club, drdino.com. Call Bobby 855 Big Dino extension 1.
Call Balby. He said that, right?
They can pay back the money they stole. So please help me with that if you would. Okay. Help us to open for free. Join our 777 Club, drdino.com. Call Bobby 855 Big
Yep, he said Balby.
Dino extension 1 if you want to have any questions about that. There's our website. Open for over 9 years because people who love the ministry help us stay open.
I wonder, does Dinosaur Adventureland give out documentation when you donate to them, or Genesis Baptist Church, or CSE, or whatever entity the money's actually going to? Do they actually give out something verifying the donation, so that when people try to write it off on their taxes as a charity, that they actually have something to back it up? I wonder. I should call 855 Big Dino, extension 1, and ask on that front. Ask to see evidence of this.
Support us. That's good. So Whack an Atheist Wednesday, and this time Thursday and Friday. We're going to whack Holy Koolaid one more time. I know he's going to need more than that to stay down, brother. He ain't going to get it. Poor guy.
To stay down. More bully language right there. Don't get up or I'll push you down again. You're so pathetic, Kent.
He's got several videos on contradictions in the Bible. They're so easy to answer. Somebody just really messed up his little brain, so I'll help him. Whack-a-mole, whack-a-mole, there it is right there.
Yes, and it seems like you were deprived of oxygen at birth.
Wait for an atheist to stick his head up. So anyway, the winner tonight, Holy Koolaid.
That or your mommy and daddy or brother and sister. I don't know. Wouldn't surprise me, though.
Why scientists laugh at the Noah's Ark story.
Probably because it's fucking stupid. But you don't understand that.
Well, Thomas, who decides who is a scientist? If a person believes the Bible, can they still be a scientist? Or did they just lose that title? They can't be a scientist now because they believe the Bible.
Let us all note that Kent is as red as his fucking shirt, which is more of a magenta pinkish kind of shade, but still very much about what Kent is right now. And once again, the cries of conspiracy. Oh, if you believe the Bible, you can't be a scientist. No, if the scientific community accepts you, you're a scientist. If the description fits, you're probably actually a scientist.
A large number of people with degrees in sciences do believe the Bible is true. And Noah's flood happened just like it says in Genesis. If a person goes...
Well, Rogue, they actually filed some tax paperwork, including being registered as a 501c3, so someone in there, and by that it's probably his damned lawyer, went through the effort. So someone can actually file some paperwork properly.
Goes to an accredited school and gets a PhD and graduates believing he's related to a potato and came from an amoeba, which evolved in a soup made from rain on rocks, which all came from a dot of near nothing exploding. Should we still call him doctor?
So, audience, since we're questioning titles and people being scientists, our friend Deviant here. She is in Egyptology, so elements of anthropology and archaeology. Those are types of sciences. Does that make her a scientist? I believe so, because she's actually doing actual science, or is just educated on this subject and understands things in such a degree that I would consider her such. I'm just the quote-unquote citizen scientist, which I hate using the term because that basically means fucking nutjob who doesn't understand anything in most usage cases. So I refrain from calling myself much of anything. No professional training, no professional career stuff in that front. So I wouldn't call myself such, and I wouldn't expect anyone else to necessarily call me that either. But I personally think that Deviant would more often be called a kind of scientist than, let's say, I would. Big Bad Mama, with their understanding of geology, would be a kind of scientist. R&R most definitely a kind of scientist. You are not a kind of scientist, Kent. You're antithetical to science because your conclusions lead what you accept as evidence. It's not the other way around. That's your problem. But again, you cry conspiracy because it's all you've got in the end.
Is it okay if I would...
And, you know, straw man.
Question their degree too? If somebody gets a degree in a different country that doesn't have our accrediting system, are they still a doctor? It's only creationists that can't be doctors, isn't it? Yeah. I'll tell you what. Somebody made me the coffee cup. Look at that. Dr. Kent Hovind.
Oh, but you don't care if anyone calls you doctor. You don't obsess over that. It doesn't matter to you at all. You're not a doctor. You can throw it on there. That doesn't make you one. And if it does, then I've got more PhDs than you. So I'm Dr. Yamato. Dr. Tomato. Dr. Minil Sung. It doesn't matter. You can go by any of the names that I go with. Some ways, my pseudonyms are more my real name than my real name, which is really unimportant. The fact remains I have more PhDs than you from equally valuable sources. Ergo, I'm more of a doctor than you.
Too bad. Anyway, let's see. You don't like my degree.
So petty today. So petty. The Hovind.
Call me Kent. Let's get back to the topic. There is no evidence.
How about I call you fucktard? Dr. Fucktard. There you go. How about that one?
There is no geologic column, no such thing. How can the layers of dirt be different?
Yes, Soot, he does. He does. Blew my mind when he said Wednesday he'd end up doing this like the whole damn end of the week, and sure enough, he did it. 40, 80, 120 minutes. There are films shorter, good films shorter than this diatribe of diarrhea.
Ages, guys. If the top layer of dirt is younger, where is it coming from? Outer space? Every speck of dirt on the planet's the same age. Moving it from here to here.
So I'm a scientician. Got it.
Doesn't change the age of it. You guys just don't get it. If I shuffle a deck of cards, is the top card younger? Joseph, I don't know how to help him. Certain kinds of stupid are just incurable. You'd have to go to college for years to be that dumb.
Why not Zoidberg? Woot, 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 woot. Sorry, I'm not 100%, so I can't quite go all out with my Zoidberg impression, which is very rough because I hadn't watched Futurama in a long time. I really need to.
Anyway, there's no fossil record. There's no evidence of any plant or animal ever producing babies other than their same kind. So Thomas is great with straw man fallacy. He said,
says the man who's done at least 2 straw mans during this. It's not just the fact that Deviant knows so much, but also, gotta be honest, that accent, that's a nice accent. That's the accent of someone who knows what they're talking about. As opposed to the bumfuck, Yankee ass wannabe hillbilly that Hovind does. It's so stupid. And then there's the way I talk. No, don't know how often I get asked, am I from here? Because of the way I speak. People have wondered it regularly throughout my entire adult life. This is just mix everything together. All the accents I've heard, everything subtly shifted the way I speak. Yet I know you all hear the country twang come out quite regularly because you're not used to hearing it. So, yeah. Only locals think I'm not from around here.
Up a straw man, knocks it down, says, see, I destroyed the ark. All he done is set up straw man very rapidly.
Right there, all he done. Talk like you got some damn sense, Kent, alright? You grew up in the north. You don't naturally talk like that.
The Gish Gallop he does. We're going to take them one at a time. Here's what he said. Welcome to Holy Koolaid. I'm enthusiastic about science. Boy, me too. Me too. Love it. Okay. And creating a technology-advanced world worth living in. I think it was worth living in before.
Technologically advanced, you fucking illiterate dumbass.
They had technology, but okay. Raised as a missionary kid, but no longer believe in the supernatural. Yet. I added that part. He will when every knee shall bow. Okay. I grew up in a former Soviet Muslim country right after the fall of the Berlin Wall. Okay. Thomas Westbrook is his name. 36 years old now.
Way to dox everybody, Hovind. You're a total prick.
Let's see. He's the creator of a YouTube channel called Holy Koolaid, which tries to destroy people's faith in the Bible. In college, his roommate introduced him to TED Talks, and he started reading science books, watching documentaries out of curiosity, and was intrigued by atheist videos. After his mission trip, he started watching more atheist content, and they destroyed his faith. After watching Bill Nye debate creationist Ken Ham, Thomas realized that scientists were following evidence and was no longer a Christian. Thomas, would you...
Kent, you realize you already went through this the past 2 days. You understand your audience has a functional memory, right? You suck as a presenter. Cannot stress that enough. And that's why we go through his whole damn stream when I do these videos. You fucking suck as any kind of presenter. It's already 5 minutes in, 5.5 minutes, and all you've done is repeat yourself and self-filate. Auto-filate. There you go.
Please call in 855 Big Dino, extension 4. Joseph, schedule a debate. What evidence are you talking about?
Hey, Kent, I'm going to say it again. Why don't you and your cronies get off your asses and do some goddamn work? You want to debate people so badly, you lazy pieces of shit.
There is no evidence for these crazy charts they make of everything being related to a common ancestor. They've got everything going back down to a common ancestor. They've got the humans related to the whales and the ducks and everything. All this proves is they have a pencil.
You know, Rosina, I was having weird dreams last night, as I tend to, because my medicine makes me dream really weird. And I think I was having a dream about trying to pull functional memory modules, like the individual ICs, from various sticks, various components, to graft onto a particular module that was of a different connector type to restore some kind of computer for some important purpose, like they would in some sort of like action movie. I very much remember this, but like in the kinds of fragments that a weird medicine induced deliria dream is. And it's just funny. It's like, yeah, this is the stuff I dream about. Could have been worse. Could have been something traumatizing.
That works and it draws lines on paper. That's all it proves. None of that is.
Oh no, he threw his poor chart on the ground. Kent, do you think that was a mic drop? Ooh, ooh, I just thought about it. What if I got a SpongeBob toy and had Hovind autograph it? That might be funny. Maybe I can get him to, if I erase SpongeBob's name on the name tag, I can get Hovind to sign it right there. And Hovind probably wouldn't get the joke.
Science. None of it. Anyway, Holy Koolaid, 13 more contradictions in the Bible. I got to do those too one of these days. So now he's using his God given talents and energy to turn people away from believing God's word. Okay.
Why'd you capitalize believing? It's a little weird.
The Bible said in the last days there would be scoffers, and he's one of them.
Say it with me, everyone. Magic book full of bullshit says people won't believe magic book full of bullshit. Film at 11.
Who would be willingly ignorant, he's one of those, about how God made the heavens and how the earth was standing out of the water and in the water. Watch video number 2 for much more on that. And how the world was destroyed by a flood, overflowed by water and perished. Get the whole series, $50, 18 hours. When you're done, you can send it back, get your money back. And they're ignorant of the coming judgment of God. So scoffers, okay, here we go. Holy Koolaid. Here's where he left off, let's see, about all the animals farting on Noah's Ark. So let's
Oh yeah, quality stuff there. All the animals farting on. You are going to focus on this because it's in the wheelhouse of stuff you're into. Incidentally, Hovind complaining about people not answering his Making Babies series. A commenter said, I forget the name of the person he cited, but that someone had done a response to, of all videos, the one on barnacles. The one AJ and I looked at where Hovind says penis like 42 times. Oh, that's real Christian, saying penis 42 times in your damn video.
let him go here. Okay.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever said the word that much in my entire life.
So all the animals would fit.
In any individual day in my entire life. Certainly said it more than 42 times.
The ark with methane, and if you light a match, you're going to blow the thing up. That's his. He's setting up a straw man. Okay, ready?
I'd rather try my luck in the water. And how come no one's talking about the fact that they would have no light on board? It's not like they could have lit a candle, because that would have been the world's biggest fire fart explosion. Imagine.
Well, one can argue that they would have already had the lanterns going and that the methane would have gotten combusted as it was released reasonably well and wouldn't have built up to dangerous concentrations, but that implies that I'm defending Noah's Ark, and it still wouldn't have had enough time to exhaust out, and the combustion byproducts would have suffocated everybody regardless. So it's die by fart gas, die by exploded fart gas, or die by combusted fart gas. Plus your oil and your fats and such.
For a second, you're stuck in a pitch black boat with.
He's already got so many straw men here. He's assuming the ark has no ventilation. Okay? You're in a pitch black boat. Where do you get that idea, Thomas? Let's just see what the Bible actually says, so you're not fighting a straw man here. Let's see. Right here. I guess I'm on this one. God said in Genesis chapter 6, Noah, I want you to build a boat, a window.
The only thing I know about all this, Kent, is from The Simpsons. God said to Noah, there's going to be a floody. And then that's it. Stupid Flanders.
So shalt thou make to the ark in a cubit shalt thou finish it above. It only gives one dimension, Thomas. It was a cubit, about 21 inches, by the whole length of the boat. The ark was about 515 feet long, depending on which cubit you use. That's over 1,000 feet on each side. I mean, 1,000 feet times 21 inches. That's about 1,300 feet of window space. Plenty.
That wasn't actually put in. Sure, your graphic right there shows some possible stuff. Do I need to mention that this is honestly kind of reminiscent of certain buildings built at a certain site in Poland ordered by certain Germans in the early 40s, constructed mostly by Soviet prisoner labor, mind you, that were used to house people in mass. You know, originally, the blueprints were apparently, or the plans were originally for animal housing, and that's what was used at this particular site in Poland that you all know what I'm talking about. Not one of the big three, but the fourth of the big three. The one everyone knows. I should probably explain that in a different stream, but right now I'm trying to be a little bit more friendly to the advertising gods. Yeah. It kind of makes you wonder.
For ventilation, for sure, and for light, at least at the top floor. Now, if I was Noah, I'd put a few pockets in the floor of each, the second level.
Yes, Dan did look at one of the making babies and answer that. I mean, I'm sure they've all been answered in one capacity or another if we really look through, but and they're certainly answered in actual, documentation on the creatures. But like Kent cares.
Level and third level, so that the light can get down inside. We build our buildings here. We put these skylights up there, so you don't have to turn the lights on. Noah could have a hole in the floor and build a fence around it so the animals don't fall through. He could have light down into all three floors. He was 600 years old, Thomas, way smarter than you, which is not saying much, but he could easily light the ark. Don't say that you don't know there was no light. You set up a straw man. They couldn't fill it with all the farts.
You literally explain. You can tell the moment my brain processed that Hovind just said farts. You're ignoring how he established the context for everything. You're just saying he's just asserting stuff, which is what you do when he laid out context for understanding where his point is coming from. Yawn.
All the methane, which is not saying much, but he could easily light the ark. Don't say that you don't know there was no light. You set up a straw man. They couldn't fill it with all the farts, all the methane. That would explode. Okay, let's see. Let me get over to seminar here, right there. So slide number 306. Here we go, 306. Here's what I think. Right at the corner of the country of Turkey over there, Turkey where it meets these other guys.
Well, these other countries aren't important, but Turkey, yeah, Turkey.
There's a mountain called Mount Ararat. And there's signs that lead up to Noah Ungumshi, which means Noah's big boat. They say it's right there, 5 kilometers down that road. The Bible says it rested in the mountains of Ararat. And there are 4 different theories about what happened to Noah's Ark. 1, they took it apart, used the lumber for buildings. Could be, you don't know. 2, it rotted. 3, it's still on the mountain. Or 4, it's down in the valley. I go with number 4, because here's the Mount Ararat, which is a volcano. It doesn't say.
Yep.
Landed on the mountain. So it
rhymes with Mousewitz.
Landed in the mountains of Ararat. I don't think that could be unlikely for it to land on a mountain to begin with, and certainly not a volcano. Going to burn and blow the thing apart. This photo was sent out about the side of the volcano. That's Noah's Ark. No, it's not. It's way down here. Life magazine, what's that, 65 years ago. They said, that's Noah's Ark down there. I would agree. Then they had an earthquake, and either it lifted up or the ground dropped away. Either one's the same effect. And now it's sticking up out of the ground about 20 feet. So there is what's left of Noah's Ark. Ron Wyatt was a good friend of mine. I think he would found it for sure, okay?
Of course you do.
His wife, Mary Nell, wrote the book right here, The Battle for the Firstborn. They have a museum. She remarried. Her name is Lee now. But they're south of Nashville, a few miles, in Spring Hill, Tennessee. If you live up there, go see Mary Nell's museum. They got all the stuff and the pictures and everything he found from Noah's Ark. They'll let you hold the rivets they found. The ark was bolted together. Okay, there's Richard Reeves, who kind of took over some of Ron's ministry and keeps it going like that. The ark apparently landed, everybody got out. Over the next centuries, it slowly splayed and broke, settled out sideways. All ships do that, they splay, old ships. So there it is. Mr. Nelson, who calls himself the sun god, Aaron Ra, he's going to be at the Ark in Kentucky, I think, when we're up there July 6th.
Just has to randomly bring up Aaron. Just has to go there and has to say the same crap. He can't just, get to the point.
He said Noah's Ark could not have steel rivets and braces because Noah was primitive and didn't know about iron. Mr. Nelson, I think you need to read the Bible. Genesis 4, remember the floods in Genesis 6? This is one of Adam's descendants before Noah was even around. So Zillah bare Tubal-Cain, an artificer, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. Not only did they have iron, they had classes on how to work with brass and iron.
Yeah, brass and iron. Iron isn't steel. Steel is made of iron, but iron is not steel. I know that's complicated for you to understand that not all X's are Y's, but all Y's are made of X. But yeah, steel kind of has a process going on, one that didn't exist back in the stupid ages.
And yes, Noah's Ark, and he was an instructor in those classes. They had iron rivets. You can see them when you go up there to Mary Nell's.
Yeah, you keep saying iron. It's not steel. Show me steel.
Museum. Artificer in brass and iron. Okay. Let's.
Once again, not steel. I could just clip this out and just make it its own video. Seriously, should probably try to remember to. In fact, what's the timestamp? I'm going to make note 32 seconds or 32 minutes in. There we go. Note made.
Let's see. The ark was made of 3.5-inch thick plywood, for lack of a better word. 3 layers of wood cross-grained to each other like plywood. You get more strength that way. 3.5-inch thick, glued together with heavy layers and nailed together. Who was with me on the trip up there? Billy, you didn't go. You went. Did you remember?
Got a super chat from the ever lovely Rosina. Why not Zoidberg? Noah's Ark story is very short. Ken has to add to the scripture to fix his headcanon. That's not allowed via Deuteronomy 4:2, Proverbs 36. Yep.
Seeing the little square nails we could see still in the wood? You got some of the wood from the Noah's Ark right there. You can still, it was nailed together. They had nails, they had iron. Okay. Let's see.
Iron's not steel, Kent. And Deviant has said something that definitely needs some repeating here. Ron Wyatt was a fraud who did nothing but spread misinformation and conspiracy theories, and exploiting and making money off vulnerable people, just like Kent. The guy sitting across me just mispronounced "les miserables" 3 times. It hurts. Yeah, les miserables is definitely hard to pronounce. Les mis. I just made that 5 times, so your head double hurts. No, Zumi, we cannot start over.
And glued together with they got a piece of the wood up there at their museum. You can see it. We see where the tar oozed out between the boards. There are 3 different layers.
Where'd all those layers come from? Outer space? Over.
There's a museum up in Cornersville, Tennessee. Same thing. Get the book by Mary Nell Wyatt, The Boat-Shaped Object on Doomsday Mountain. Did we sell that? We don't sell that. We don't have that one. Go ahead.
Oh, you mean the woman who's not Mary Nell Wyatt anymore because she remarried? Isn't that something you're not supposed to do? But you're okay with that? Honestly, I find it kind of sickening myself, but I'm not getting into the details on how I view such a commitment.
Go to, what's her website?
I think it's just ronwyatt.com.
ronwyatt.com. Yeah, okay. Apparently the ark landed up near the mountain and had it, because they found a oval-shaped container full of rocks. We got to hold the rocks in our hand. It is?
An oval-shaped container full of rocks is how they know it landed up on the mountain. I got an oval-shaped container full of rocks here. Ladies and gentlemen, you can justify anything if you have an oval-shaped container filled with rocks. Quickly, Go to your local Walmart, or Target if you prefer. Pick up an oval-shaped waste bin. Find the nearest rocks. Throw them in there, and behold, you have your justification for anything.
RonWyatt.com. Okay? The ark would have had at the bottom of it a ballast to keep it upright, another thing to help keep it upright. And this ballast was just full of rocks to keep it from, flipping over. Many ships have a ballast on board. The ark landed up near the mountain, and then it slowly got pushed down over the centuries with volcanoes or mudslides or whatever. And it ripped off that thing on the bottom, and it's now stuck up there at the top. So that was ripped off, and it's now stuck up there near the mountain. And you can come go see the ballast stones. And what was it, Joseph, they said about when they analyzed the ballast material, it was very unique. It was obvious evidence that they were alloying different metals.
Who is this they, Kent? Also, alloying different metals, but you're referring to them as ballast stones. Rocks are not metal, Kent. Although, much like iron raw, I would argue that metal is the best form of rock. Do you understand what anything is, Kent? Because the way you're talking seems like you don't. Get back to me on that one, when you and your clowns eventually decide to call me and set up a debate on my terms.
And this was the leftover slag from the metals. They were artificers in brass and iron. Okay, so they get that book right there. So the ark landed up here, slowly got pushed down over the years, and now it's way down here. It landed near the village of Kazan in Turkey, which is...
We've completely gotten off the subject of methane emissions from the animals contained within this hypothetical ark. We're just way away from that, which I'm fine with. But I just want to point out, Mr. One Topic at a Time is just continuing his diatribe.
Means the
Diuretic diatribe of a disingenuous dumbass.
Village of 8. Why would they call a village of 8? Anybody know how many people are on the ark? Take a wild guess. 8. Okay. The modern village of Kazan, Turkey, little bitty village. The government of Turkey said, yep, that's Noah's Ark, and they built a visit.
Yep, you really trust the government of Turkey, Kent. They're super reputable. A country like that probably needs all the tourist dollars it can get, and what better way for what is, if I remember correctly, a predominantly Muslim country, mind you. Not that it's not the same deity with a lot of the same stories, but still, what better way for them to make money, pretty trivially, than to set up tourism for people to come see Magic Stupid Boat story location. Seems like it's one of the world's ultimate roadside carnival, or, roadside attractions. Little side carnival to go to, rather than anything of value, Kent. But the government of Turkey, they're the arbiters on what's real and what's not.
Visitor center, right there.
Why don't you have them appraise the King James Bible and see if it's the authority, or if they'll pick another book. I don't know. Again, if my memory is correct and they are predominantly Muslim country, which I'm pretty sure they are, especially given, nature's like the flag, I'm pretty sure they would pick a different book from the Abrahamic mythos as the true story. So be careful who you cite as, someone who can be an arbiter of authority, arbiter of reality there, Kent.
Visitor center. Creation magazine published at least 2 articles claiming it's not the ark. I studied their claims. I studied Ron's claims. I talked to Ron about it. I think they're wrong, okay? I love Creation magazine. I recommend it. But they blew it on that one. The Bible says the ark will be 300 cubits long.
For one thing, the fact that they call the ark, implying it's a box. That's kind of what's meant by the original text, from what I understand. So, yeah. Nor in the Bible does it say the ark had a ballast. The Bible is pretty darn clear. The ark was a box. And then with deviant, for fuck's sake, even taking away the other reasons this is nonsense, the ark wasn't even boat-shaped. It wasn't a boat. It was a box. Yep. That's even what the word means. Ark, container, box, trunk. Yep. We're all thinking the same thing at the same time. Not looking good for you, Hovind. Not looking good.
There are several different cubits used now. It's just simply elbow to fingertip. Whoever's the king gets the cubit, okay? The Babylonian cubit, the 19 inches. The Egyptian cubit, almost 21 inches.
Yeah. Can Deviant cite this? Because I don't trust anything Kent says about Egypt. I mean, I don't trust anything he says about anything, especially when he's citing Henry Morris. Ugh. But still.
The Hebrew cubit, they had two of them, long and short cubit. If you take the Egyptian cubit, now since Moses edited the book of Genesis, he didn't write it, but he put it together from 10 eyewitness accounts. Cover that on video number 7. No, Moses grew up in Egypt from the time he was a baby. Remember, Pharaoh's daughter rescued him out of the river?
Oh, there's Pharaoh again. That's been annoying me so much I had to look up and double check that it's generally accepted to be Pharaoh. No one says it is Pharaoh. It's just why anyone says that is beyond me. That's clear evidence you're an uneducated fucking cunt if you say Pharaoh.
Baby, he learned Egyptian. He was learned in all the Egyptian knowledge. He would have used the Egyptian cubit when he, talked about the ark. I use feet and inches and miles. I know how to understand. I understand the metric system real thoroughly.
You don't know shit about metric, Kent. I'm amazed you can even pronounce kilometer. Everyone knows Noah used the methane to turn the ark into a giant dirigible and avoid the harmonic tides. Story checks out. Totally checks out. Rogue Rainbow with a very welcome $13.99 Canadian super chat. The they he refers to all the time is the several thousand voices in his head. They all want to escape his and live inside someone who has more functional moral compass. All right, note to self, get the tinfoil hat and earmuffs when you get near Kent Hovind, lest you be possessed by the demons which inhabit his cranium. Boy, they are starved. It's like the Futurama thing where the brain slugs, one of them attaches to Fry and it starves to death. Yeah. Science tells us 47 ways Noah's Ark was not possible. One window, suffocation. All the animals, what do they eat? The boat. Like, it can't hold together. Does not work. After the stream, of course, yeah. Seth posting his links after the fact. I mean, there's some good stuff. We honestly should watch it just for the fun of it. Art didn't have a fucking moon pool. Does he even know what a moon pool requires? Kent doesn't know shit about ass. Or Xena with another super chat. It's so painful seeing full grown ass adults insisting that this story is true. So glad I grew out of this. Yeah, thank you, Laura, for the super chat. Yeah, it's so incredibly just pathetic to see people defend this to this degree. It hurts. And I don't just mean in a comedic, it hurts like, oh, it hurts my brain. No, it actually hurts my essence, to be like, how can fellow humans be this dumb? Then you look at the current socio-political climate of the world and realize, oh, that's how.
I don't like it. I like the English system better. I'm going to stick with feet, inches, and miles and pounds. Okay. So that would make the ark about 515 feet long. Big boat. Compared to the Titanic, it wasn't quite as big as the Titanic. There's a football field. In that area, they found 12 giant stones with holes in the top called drogue stones, 9,000-pound stones. They're still up there. Some of them have crosses carved on them. Apparently, the Crusaders came through there and said, wow, this is Noah's Ark, and they carved crosses on there.
Wow, how convenient that people who their whole goal was to go out there and spread Christianity and prove stuff and do things might have took, something that was important in the area, like the giant anchor stones, which were probably already a cultural phenomena there, and carve into them, mutilating them.
Two big ones. And
by putting in symbols of a character that wouldn't exist for another couple of, 1,000 years in the story.
6 small crosses. These holes through the rock are curved. Brother, I've drilled 1 million holes in my life. I don't know how you drill a curved hole through a rock.
Erosion.
Anyway, they did it. Okay. During the drought in the late 90s and early 2000s, the Sea of Galilee dropped way below sea level, normal levels, exposing scores of small anchor stones used over the centuries. It's common if it gets stormy or the waves are coming around, toss rocks overboard with ropes attached. That keeps the boat stabilized. There's a place called the House of Anchor Stones. Apparently the ark landed, they took the ropes off and maybe reused the ropes or something else, or no, they're not going to reuse the boat. Why not take it apart? And then it drifted down to where it is today. The whole rope holes are in the anchor stones. They were to hang the rocks over the side of the boat. And if it really gets windy, it'll turn you perpendicular to the waves so you can't capsize. Now, we don't know that the ark ever encountered any stormy weather. Might have been perfectly calm the whole time. You can have storms someplace in the world and not right there. Anyway, this would make the rocks drag behind the boat. And now it can't capsize because you're facing into the wind, okay? Or facing perpendicular to the wind.
Never face into the wind of Hovind. You don't want to know what that succulent Chinese meal he was eating turned into. It's no longer democracy manifest, I'll tell you that.
The waves. One atheist said, Hovind, I heard your seminar about Noah's Ark having big rocks hanging over the side. You're stupid. Don't you know if he had big rocks or had rocks hanging all over the boat, it would slow him down? I said, where was he going? And Mr. Thomas here says, he shows a picture, you watch, a ship, a huge wooden ship that had 6 masts, for sails. And they said that ship, I think it was called the Liberty ship, it twisted so bad that it kept leaking all the time.
The Liberty ship. You mean the ships built during World War II out of steel to carry freight, weapons, etc. over to the European theater, mainly in helping keep Britain afloat, no pun intended there, during the Blitz and in case of potential actual landings by the Germans. Eventually heavily involved in getting resources over to there for the D-Day landings. You mean those ships, Kent? Those Liberty ships that are metal and not wood? I think you got your information mixed up there, buddy. And given your penchant for watching World War II documentaries in between sessions of self-enjoyment to your own videos, it makes sense that you would get that mixed up in your pathetic state of mind.
I mean, they finally had to scrap. Noah's Ark didn't have sails or masts, guys. It wasn't designed to sail. It's not trying to go anywhere. There's nowhere to go. He's trying to float and land. But you guys make up these dumb stories and then claim you're smarter than God. Okay. The Church of Christ preacher I debated said Noah's Ark could not float because a 6-master, over 300 feet long, had not been able to sail because of the leaking from twisting the ship from the sails. Yeah. Okay. The Armenians called the spot where they called it the landing.
Hovind's supposed to be such a great teacher, but I find it funny that he didn't just explain there what a 6-master is. He also called it the 6-master, instead of implying a 6-masted ship, which would be a very large caliber and is the stuff that he is talking about. He could have explained that. Context clues allow those of us with intelligence to figure it out, but his audience probably would have needed the explanation. But then again, we already know that half the people sitting in Genesis Baptist Church watching this have already fallen asleep.
Place. And they show the remains of it today. Some say Noah's Ark could not be that long because it would break and bend going over the waves. Well, not if it had a moon pool, or several of them, that lets the water come up and down inside.
There he is, about his damn moon pools.
At the boat part way, and the boat doesn't have to bend because it's relieving the stress. It would be good for air circulation. Water going up and down in that moon pool would pump fresh air in and out through these huge 515-foot long windows.
Hey, Big Bad Mama.
There's showing the damage they say would happen to a long ship with the stress. And sometimes this happens. This ship cracked in half.
Yes, he did. The Democracy Manifest guy's story is quite amazing. And the irony that his viral meme moment, he wasn't even doing anything wrong. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong history. And he gave that Shakespearean performance. It is incredible. So rest in peace to that guy. He might not have been the most ethical person, but he's still better than Hovind.
Broken half because it's a lot of weight out there. Okay. So Shem says, "Hey, Dad, why'd you build these tall tubes over holes in the bottom of the ark?" Noah, These are called moon pools, son. When a long boat goes over a wave, it could make the boat break in the middle. So this allows the water to come up inside the boat and relieve the stress on the long ship. This is one of our moon pools in our ark down here. It also pumps fresh air in and out, and it's our constant source of fresh water for us. And
Well, 200-foot wave coming in at 900 miles an hour. It's only slightly supersonic. I think the ark could handle that. Totally. Moon pools. That's calm water for the ark. Yeah. I know, it makes my brain hurt too.
the animals. As the water goes up and down inside this hole, it pumps fresh air in and out of the boat. Constant circulation. We think probably had 4 or 5 moon pools down the length of it. I don't know. And the water inside each moon pool would be fresh water, because the whole ocean was fresh water. And whatever the depth is outside, say you got ark is 45 feet tall. Let's say it rides 20 feet down in the water. Okay. 50% draft is quite a bit. Most ships have less than that. But let's say it's down 15 or 20 feet. That means in each of the moon pools, the water's 15 or 20 feet deep. All you got to do is put a valve down there. When you water the animals, turn the valve. I doubt they had PVC, but whatever they had. And they had maybe an iron valve. They had iron and brass. And water the animals. You don't have to go around and stick the water in every animal's mouth. Put it in the trough and let them come find their own. Cows are pretty stupid, and they figure it out. So a window shelter I'll make in the ark, 515 feet long on each side, 1,300 square feet of ventilation. So,
boy, he's still just rambling on. He's shown 5 seconds of Holy Koolaid's video.
Evidence for Noah's Ark. The Bible clearly teaches it. Jesus believed in it. There's 350 flood legends. 70% of the earth is covered by sedimentary rock. There's rounded gravel worldwide. The ark.
Wow. For numbers 4 and 5, it's almost as if we live on a planet with a lot of water and a lot of sedimentation. And, this is going to be something amazing, Kent, but hear me out. And I tried explaining this to a fish once, and they did not get it. So maybe you're smarter than a fish. Sometimes water falls from the sky. I know. Crazy, right? So you get these little temporary mini rivers just forming and rounding away things. And on a very serious point, do y'all ever actually just stop sometimes and think about how relatively weird rain is? Just water falls from the sky. Like, we're so used to it, and it is so natural, but at the same rate, when you think about it, it's like, this is kind of weird. And even more crazy when you think that on other worlds, it happens with other predominant liquids based on temperature and the like. Raining methane on Titan and the like. And raining, pure hell on Venus. Never get lost the irony that the most hellish world to exist in our solar system is named after a goddess of beauty. Because it is a very pretty planet. But like most beautiful things, you don't want to get too close.
Has been found. There are underwater canyons all over the place. There are polystrata fossils. We've covered that many times. There's enough water to cover the earth, 8,800 feet deep. There's plenty of water to cover the world.
Oh, Deviant, if you're up late one night when he actually does his open mic, you should go in and do it. It'd be very interesting, although I feel he would try to offend you because, she has an accent. But I think it'd be nice for him to get his ass handed to him by, 1, someone of your caliber, but 2, you being a woman. And the same goes for Laura and everyone else in the chat. The idea of women calling Kent out is the best to me. Just him constantly getting one-upped by a gender he identifies as second class. Just such a nice idea. Because Hovind's a piece of shit.
Anyway, that's my thoughts. Let me get Thomas here to blabber some more about why he doesn't believe in the ark.
Shrieking, wailing animals, mountains of carcasses, rotting flesh, molding food, and sewage up to your waist. Wow.
Oh, man. He's describing my last trip downtown. Please Please, someone get me out of Memphis. I don't want to be here anymore.
Up to your waist. Now listen, if they had moon pools, it's very simple. Modern ships to this day dump stuff overboard. I think I put it in here. Let's see here. Oh. Google, how do cruise ships get rid of waste? Let's see. No, not on that one. There we go. You know, cruise ships, my mom paid for us boys to go on a cruise ship one time. It was all right. I didn't get too excited about it. But on the cruise ships, got pictures in here somewhere. I just took them. They just dump it out into the ocean, and the fish love it. Okay. Well, it's been busy around here with all the visitors, okay?
Always it's been busy. It's been busy. It hasn't been busy, Kent. It hasn't been busy at all.
And I tried.
You're like some people I know where you just do random shit so you have an excuse to claim it's been busy, when in reality half the stuff you did was not necessary. But you just did it to keep busy. To be able to try to manipulate people on that. I've been busy all day. You ain't been doing shit. It's your own damn fault.
I didn't get enough time to put this together like I'd like to tonight. So he's making up a couple of straw men here. It was pitch black.
He's saying straw man like he learned a new word.
Thomas, read the Bible before you criticize
You know, like a kid who learned a new word. Straw man, straw man.
it.
There's this one time, was talking about something and a dude gave a terrible, it was some debate, gave a terrible interpretation of what I was saying, and it's like, oh, you just trying to act like you have a clue what I'm saying. You obviously don't. And he's like, no, it was trying to say I'm trying to steel man it, which is the first time I had ever heard that term, but he ended up typing it as still man. And I'm like, what the fuck are you even talking about? And even then he was wrong either way, so. But he could have specified a little better and also known what the hell he was talking about. Idiots. The internet's full of them.
They had 1,300 square feet of window space, okay? Not pitch black. And rotting food, you don't know that. See, if the pre-flood world had that canopy overhead, maybe conditions were very different. Everything would last much longer. More oxygen, higher air pressure. People sure live to be 900 years old.
No, remember his dad was in the Japanese theater. So while he was killing 5,000 or 3,000 Nazis with a rusty spoon on D-Day, he was also on Okinawa beating people off with a giant chunk of fatty. No, I'm not recanting the phrasing I used. Nope, it was beating people off with a big chunk of fatty. It's right after he rescued Cotton Hill, because he's got no legs. They blew his shins off in WW2. Ken Hovind's dad's the one who saved that. And he's the one who single-handedly nuked Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And he's the one who strung up Mussolini. And he's the one who convinced Hitler to take care of himself on April 30th. And his daddy's the one who took out Stalin. We'll just go with that, too. Because why not?
And they could always dump the poo into the moon pools. The fish would love it.
Yes, I did, Deviant.
But, if I was Noah, I'd say, boys, the wind is blowing this way. Start shoveling the stuff into the last moon pool down that way. And I'm not 600 years old. No telling what he knew. They might have had a conveyor system or something, okay?
A wild.
Zoomy, that is where my mind was going following that. I just didn't say anything. Imagine the trans girl calling him out. Yeah, as Ambush put, he'd die. But you're a girl, but you're... Oh, my medication. Dead Hovind.
Ravenous, hungry predators hunt in the darkness.
And hungry predators eating other animals in the ark. Thomas, you are really an idiot. Read your Bible. All the animals were vegetarian. Read Genesis chapter 1 and 2. First two chapters. You can at least get that far. God said, I've given to all the animals every green herb for meat. Everything was vegetarian.
Every green herb for meat. You mean to eat? Also, last I checked, the whole idea of the animals being vegetarian, it's implied there, but I don't think there's anything that explicitly says after the flood some became meat eaters. I could be mistaken, but I also would have thought such an event would have occurred after the fall,
Before
because it doesn't really make sense to be part of the flood. Makes no sense at all, except that it's convenient for your story. Oh, they wouldn't eat each other. They were vegetarians until after the flood. What does the flood have to do with them eating or not eating meat? Why would that have been a factor that was changed?
the flood. So no, they weren't on the ark eating each other. You set up a straw man and think you've conquered you've conquered the Bible. You're smarter than God.
Tearing animals to shreds for a year.
Kent can take his ass down to South Africa with his homie elongated muskrat. That's where he and Muskrat can go. And they can take Donny Boy with them. Which Donny Boy? Yes.
Yeah. Reality would be far from the idyllic version picture story Bibles you
Not at all, Thomas. First place, many animals.
Ah, I see, deviant. Well, Kent is an idiot. If it's any consolation, none of us can understand what the hell he says half the time, because most of what he says is the ramblings of a complete fucking sociopath.
If he brought babies, especially.
Messages from the Zodiac Killer make more sense before translation than what Ken Hovind says does.
They would sleep a lot more. They hibernate a lot. And if they're not able to be active and no reason to be active, run around, go get some food, go get some water, hibernate.
Yes, Dogwalker, I was thinking that too, that cruise ships don't dump in the ocean, it being very illegal. You don't handle waste like that. Just like aircraft don't dump the waste overboard, it's stored in particular tanks. Because again, it's illegal to do. And I think Kent realized he was wrong and had to cover up and just, move on with the presentation rather than admit, oh, wait, I'm wrong.
Sleep a lot more. And Noah, God brought the animals to Noah. Okay?
always see. Oh, and somehow we're told that Noah's building this giant boat for years, warning everyone for years, and they don't listen to him at all, understandably. But
they don't listen to Noah, understandably. See, he's throwing in this little jab that people are smart enough to know the story didn't happen, or else everybody would have got on board. The Bible says God saw the wickedness of man, that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was evil continually. They didn't want to have anything to do with God, kind of like you.
I think so.
when you start having every single animal on Earth miraculously showing up, and you have orderly lines of tigers and penguins miraculously boarding this boat, we're meant to believe that not a single person looked at that and thought, oh crap, I better get on that boat. But
Thomas, you and the atheists think you see all the complexity of the world, how miraculous a cell is, and the genetic code.
The gene comb.
And you think it happened by chance. Yeah, some people can really be stupid and overlook the obvious. They must have overlooked, hey, Noah's building a boat.
Zumi, I'm going to say no. Kent doesn't actually know anything.
Maybe they laughed at him. Probably did. Till it started raining. And you're probably laughing at God till you're ready to die.
Speaking of, how did all of the animals get to that boat? Did the duck
How would the animals get to the boat? Now watch this straw man he sets up here.
billed platypus waddle?
Seriously, he's like a 4-year-old who learned a new word. Also, Kent, sorry, I'm finishing up some snackages. I'm hungry. Kent, I forget who it was. I feel like it might have been Seth, but it was somebody who commented when we were doing video 1, or possibly the small bit of video 2 we did, that wouldn't everyone at a point have, once they realized what was going on, have just laid siege to the boat? I would have. It's like, if we're going to die, you're going down too. Drill some holes and just hook them up. Set fire to it. Siege parties. Wouldn't have been that hard. It's sitting there. But no, that of course didn't happen. Everyone just dealt with it. They didn't realize, oh, hey, this Noah guy sold us out. Fuck this shit.
All the way from Australia?
Did the platypus waddle all the way from Australia? Thomas, I want you to try to think for a minute. I know it's hard. You don't know that the continents, the shapes of the continents today is what it was then. If the world was totally habitable and the ocean, the water was in the crust of the earth, That's where the fountains of the deep broke open. The earth was mostly land. Maybe platypuses lived right next door to Noah's Ark. Huh? Is that even a possibility in your mind? Now, today, some animals only found in certain areas. I agree. That's today, Thomas. You're willingly ignorant.
So you're saying that the conditions for polar bears, the conditions for platypi, the conditions for lions, the conditions for any kind of extremophile were all perfectly, in check. And there was no issue that animals suited for cold and animals suited for warm climates could have lived right next to each other, and it was all just honky-dory. That's what you're trying to say, Kent.
Of the creation and the flood. So he makes another straw man that the platypus had to waddle all the way from Australia. You don't know that. There might have been platypuses everywhere in the world.
To an ark in the Middle East?
Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle.
Did the koala
Got any grapes?
crawl all the way back there post-flood apocalypse without a
thing? Did the koala crawl all the way across the desert? Look, you're assuming that the world then was like it is today. You're setting up a stupid straw man.
shred of eucalyptus to eat along the way? What did any animal eat after the flood wiped out every plant on Earth?
What did the animals eat after the flood wiped out all the plants? Thomas, Noah stayed in the ark for 5 months after it landed. Seeds would be floating around and they would land and sprout again.
Yes, on that, salinated just disaster of anything. And I don't even have the energy to get into it. I just don't. You're so fucking stupid, Kent.
Go any place where there's been a flood. Go back in a few months, vegetation is growing like crazy because it's really good topsoil. Stuff grows like crazy. So you're making up a dumb straw man again. Okay.
When Noah got out, did he just walk around and see all the littered human corpses and just go, this is fine. Everything's fine. And can you imagine the smell? It's bad enough when there's been a flood and, the water is just permeated wet and microbes start doing their things. The smell down by the Mississippi River is awful. But man, just the decimation that would have been around him. Yeah. Also, again, you think we would find a whole lot of human remains along with all these other creatures, and for some reason we don't.
Earth. Soil microbiomes would have been utterly destroyed. The dirt would
Wait, the microorganisms would be destroyed. Thomas, you don't know that. See, well, here's what we know, according to the Bible. Noah was in
His whole response is constantly, you don't know that. You don't know that. You don't know shit about anything.
the ark for over a year. We know it rained for 40 days, and the water kept coming up for 150 days. But we don't know the whole world was covered with water for the whole year. Some parts might have been underwater for a few days, a few weeks, especially if the crust of the earth is fractured like an eggshell in the crust.
Well, it seems to me you talk about all those rafts all the time that given the time available, people might have had boats or something or rafts where they could have survived on them for the few days that some of those areas would have been, and they could have navigated themselves to the land ho, and gone over to it. So it seems like the plan to exterminate all life on the planet wouldn't have gone so well, because something about humans, and given that you're 72 and you're absolute scum, it should come as no shocker that humans have this weird penchant for survival. We tend to pull victory from the jaws of defeat, quite literally, pretty regularly. We're really, really good about that, to our own detriment a lot of times. And yeah, I think people would have come up with survival methods. They would have tried their own boats, which would have sufficed. Because if the water wasn't as bad as you said it was, then it'd be a non-issue for other boats to survive. And vice versa. If it is as bad as you said it is before, you still said it was only land for a few areas. It wouldn't have been so bad. A few days. Land. I mean, which is it, Kent? Can you come up with a concise working model for the flood that doesn't have 100 contradictions? Because all I'm hearing is it was this until it can't be this, then it needs to be that. Oh, this happened until I need it to be that happening. And oh yeah, and just all this special pleading, all this making shit up. Gets old, man. Gets old. Old man.
Crustal plates are moving around. Some places might have popped above water for a while, then went back down again. The plates of the earth are still moving. You believe in plate tectonics, don't you, Thomas? So no, you do not know that Noah's flood would destroy all the soils. Again, you make up.
Noah thought, look what all that tidal pumping did to my vineyard. Yes. There will be no harvest this year. Tell the Chancellor he will not get his yearly bottles. At least that won't be for another 20 years, because there's a wait time, lead-in time, but still. Oh wait, the Chancellor is dead, so it doesn't matter. Haha, more wine for me. Oh wait, we left that back in whatever town we came from. Well, damn. Oh, I found one bottle. Better get drunk and then, have my offspring try to do horrible things with me because they're fucking perverts.
A straw man and then slap it down and think you're smart.
Would be salty. Not a single plant would be able to grow. And before you say that God just...
And salty soil, Thomas, you're assuming the ocean was salt water during the flood. It wasn't. There's your problem. See, Google it. Are the oceans becoming saltier today? Yeah, they're gaining salt from the rivers and stuff.
Got a quick $2 super chat from Marty. Some treats for your cats from Merlin. Thank you so very much. I will let the little ones feast, and then they will look at me like, where's the rest, Dad? And I'll be like, that was it. You ate the whole bag. And then they will claw me. I will have no skin when I'm done with them, or when they're done with me. That'll be okay, though.
It's a
Can't go to work. I ain't got no skins. Cotton Hill, got no shins. Yamato, got no skins.
giant distillation process, and the oceans are gaining salt. That's because they were all freshwater at the time of the flood, so that would not ruin the soil. I don't know where he went, what his kind of Christianity was before. Doesn't matter, but something's wrong. Okay.
Miraculously made all of the life come back? Well, then what was the point?
No, Thomas, it doesn't miraculously make all the life. You see, plants have what are called seeds. Mm-hmm. They could float around and land in the dirt and start growing again.
Some of them will behave right under those conditions. A lot won't. Seeds vary. Usually due to the environment, the plant, what's the word? When life specializes in a certain way, it adapts. What's the word for that process? Oh, right. When it evolves in a certain location under certain conditions and specializes for those conditions as a side effect of natural selection. See, it really all comes together, Hovind. You can't understand that. But it's okay. Smart people realize that morons like you will somehow succeed in life sometimes. So it's our duty to just call you out as the fucking idiot you are. You fucking idiot.
Couldn't they? Plus, Noah's got all this food on board, and the animals are going to get off, and just the animal poop is going to contain a lot of seeds. No, it's not a problem. Go any place where there's been a flood, the vegetation comes back very quickly. Very quick.
Point of needing to put on...
Go to a place that's been underwater for a year and tell me how that turns out for you, Kent. When there's no life around, Take all the life away. Show me how quick it comes back.
All the animals on the boat in the first place. And most of these animals can't eat just anything. They occupy very niche and fragile...
Thomas, read your Bible. All the animals are vegetarian. God said to Noah, bring all the food that is eaten onto the boat. He must have known, okay? Maybe they had piles of alfalfa hay and piles of corn and piles of something else, whatever they had, I don't know.
Piles of corn that, didn't exist. Yeah, okay.
No. I'll watch the video when I get to heaven. Try to relay the information to you at the time, wherever you are, okay? You have strained at a gnat.
Let's just hint, and Hovind believes in telepathic ghosts.
And swallowed a camel. You don't see how this could happen. Noah bringing food for all the animals on the ark. Therefore, you're going to believe all the animals came from a rock. Yeah. Anyway.
Ecosystems. For example, the red admiral butterfly in New Zealand will only lay eggs on the Urticaferix nettle plant found also exclusively in New Zealand. When its caterpillar eggs hatch, they will only eat that specific plant.
That's a good example of a symbiotic relationship. Thomas, how did that evolve? Did the plant evolve first, or the butterfly to lay the eggs on the plant?
They evolved together. Easy. How dumb are you, Kent? When I ask that, it's not a challenge.
Millions of symbiotic relationships. See? Well, anyway, off track. Let's go.
Life cycle of this butterfly is about 8 weeks. That means 7 generations of butterflies would need enough of this very specific nettle on the arc in order to survive. And that is just one example among thousands of such plants and animals, which occupy extremely sensitive ecosystems.
That's why you guys need to answer this if you want us to pay for your religion to be taught in the schools.
Paying for what's not a religion to be taught is irrelevant to the truth of it. So shut up. You're 200% wrong every time you make that statement, make that claim. Like, you're paying for the religion to be taught in schools. Has nothing to do with the truth of it. It's not a religion anyway. So 100, 200%. You owe wrong points to the rest of the world, Kent. You've been borrowing from everybody. No one can be as wrong as you have been because you've stolen from the collective existence of humanity. Levels of wrongness that have not been seen since, I don't know, something that was really fucking wrong.
How did all these symbiotic relationships arise by chance? By the way, which came first of any of the animals, the male or the female? And if you had a male lion evolved and the female was 500 miles away or 20 years too late, I think you got a problem.
Sexual reproduction developed long before there was anything even remotely animal, damn near, barely animals. And so that example with the lions would have been irrelevant. And second, everything evolves together. It's an emergent aspect. So sexual reproduction developed a very early ancestor. It's a process that generally would have continued in the descendants who would have inherited that facet. And again, evolution is a gradient, isn't just sudden changes from one kind to another, because there's no such thing as kind. And every species we've classified is really just a snapshot of a particular point in a branch of evolutionary lineage and nothing more, until we decide to call it something different. In much the same way, all colors are connected to the other, and just at a point you arbitrarily decide this is another color.
You guys you live in a dream world of SpongeBob imagination.
Yes, says the man who believes in literal magic.
Okay, that's enough for tonight, Joseph. My throat's killing me. Any questions or comments?
I'm sure it is. You were probably trying to milk the bull.
You got to take? Your thoughts on Zionism? I guess I'd have to know exactly what you mean by that.
Oh, yeah, right. You fucking know exactly what it is. You even promoted the Protocols of the Elders of Zion book, so don't fucking tell me you don't know what Zionism is, you fucktard. Duplicitous piece of shit. Fucking Nazi.
We'll take it to an extreme, you know. Israel is God's chosen country.
Yeah, and his follow-ups in the chat just kind of sounded political. Like, what do you think about this?
There's been a lot of Jewish influence in a lot of things in politics and education. A lot of it is just pure evil. I agree. Okay.
There you go, Kent. Being honest for once. You know, about what you think, not about factuality.
However, they're still God's people. They're not godly people, but they're God's people, and he's going to bless them, and they're going to come back to the land. And when you see what the promised land goes from Euphrates to the Nile River, all of Saudi Arabia, yeah, just keep an eye on the news. You'll see it. It's
Oh, you mean the same Saudi Arabia that Trump went to and touched the orb and all that shit? Are you talking about that Saudi Arabia that we're buddy-buddy with for some fucking reason? Oh, right, oil.
coming. It's coming. I think in the next few years, we'll see it happen. But yes, the Jews have had a very good influence in many ways in the world. A lot of inventions, a lot of really smart people. But boy, they've had some evil influence too.
Oh, Kent. Tell us you're a Nazi without telling us you're a Nazi, but you're a Nazi. You just realize you can't say anything bad about him unless you really get canceled. But, you know, keep hinting at what you really think. Kent Hovind is a Nazi.
Kent, you're the man, brother. Tell the one about the scientist that wanted to see how far a frog could jump.
Don't tell the joke. Why are people asking for the jokes? Are you Soldado Blanco? Are you that fucking stupid that you actually want to hear that joke again? Holy fuck.
My video number 1, that'd take too long and my throat hurts, but that's a good one. Watch seminar part 1. I tell the story. Jump frog, jump. That's hilarious. Thank you. That's it. Okay. Why do you think the FBI makes not being pre-trib such a dividing issue? Oh, IFB, Fundamental Baptist. I don't know. Do they make
Probably because they can't agree on it, and rather than fraction themselves further, they just say, forget it, we're just not going to make it an issue.
that a dividing issue? I used to believe in the pre-trib rapture. I don't anymore. Tell you what, very simple. Get your Bible. My chart, $10.
Ah, yes. Here we go. Kent admitting that the Bible is his chart. $10. That's the Bible you should really have. His $10 chart.
The back is verses from Daniel, Matthew, Mark, and Luke about the rapture. Let me read it to you. Matthew 24. You can get it in your Bible. Matthew 24. The disciples came to Jesus in verse number 2 and 3. Verse 3. He sat on the Mount of Olives. The disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming? Real clear.
Oh, you'll know.
When are you coming, and what's the sign we watch for? Turn to Mark chapter 13, verse number 4. Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign?
Something like that. I don't know. I forgot the Facebook commenter already. He was stupid either way.
Luke 21. Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign? It couldn't be more clear. You got mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Then he goes and describes the tribulation for the next 20-some verses. And at the end, let's just take the Matthew one. Go down to Matthew 24, verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the 4 winds, from the one end of heaven to the other.
Book sucks.
To the sound, let's see, from one end of heaven to the other. I don't think it can be more clear. Lord, when are you coming? What's the sign? I'm coming after the tribulation when the sun and the moon go dark. Couldn't be more clear in my book. Okay, questions or comments? What do you think about the recently discovered spiral structures underneath pyramid?
I love that. This idiot types the same way. Underneath pyramid. What, is pyramid a place now? No. And if you want to know about those, Deviant and Kentucky Atheists did a great video on those. Go back and check it out.
I don't know that it's even true. Okay, how do you find, the ground penetrating radar? I think it may be a hoax. I don't know. If there are support structures under the pyramid, that's great. I have always said in my seminar part 7, question answer, I believe the Great Pyramid only was built before the flood. There's no Egyptian hieroglyphics in there like the rest of them have all these symbols. This is King George, the greatest guy that ever lived. This doesn't have that.
Oh, Deviant's getting very angry right now.
The Great Pyramid might have been a godly structure built by godly people. It might be the gospel in stone. It had 144,000 smooth polished casing stones. The doorway, when you finally find it, there's one door. You have to make a choice. Broad way to the pit or narrow way to the king's chamber. In the king's chamber on the 50th row of stones is only an empty tomb. The chief cornerstone was never put in place. Built all that building and never put the last brick on there. Chief cornerstone was rejected. I think there's a lot of good teaching in the Great Pyramid. So whether it's true or not, I'm not dogmatic on it.
On behalf of the ancient Egyptians, I'm absolutely fucking pissed that this ass clown would usurp incredible structural accomplishments, their mythology, their ritualism, their cultural heritage for his bullshit. Piss off, Kent.
7. So I don't know about what's underneath it. I think it's, what do they call that?
Oh, look, they had that comment up there for only a very small
teaching
moment.
in the Great Pyramid. So whether it's true or not, I'm not dogmatic. I cover that video number.
They may put it back up. I don't know. But this person, this Matthew Greg Gamble, where did we get all the oil from, Kent? I know that we got coal from trees. Some people believe oil just keeps regenerating itself. Doesn't sound right to me.
7. So I don't know about what's underneath it. I think it's, what do they call that? A spoof?
Yeah.
Yeah, try to get clicks. Who knows? Okay, last one. Where we get all the oil from, Kent? Oh, animals and people that drowned in the flood, they would tend to swirl, as the water's swirling around, they tend to puddle together. When they sink, get another layer of mud on top. They can make oil in 20 minutes in the laboratory.
This just in, Kent Hovind believes that the oil he burns, or the oil that makes the gasoline to power his cars, his Jeeps and all that shit, that is the oil that lubricates things, is made of people. And he's okay with that.
There's a factory in Texas where they slaughter turkeys by the millions. They bring all the guts and feathers and everything they don't want next door, and they compress it into oil in 20 minutes. I think the oil we have in the ground today is from the people and animals that drowned in Noah's flood. And if the earth was mostly habitable, today it's only 3% habitable, 70% underwater, 10% under ice caps, 10% desert, a whole bunch of mountain ranges. If the earth was mostly habitable, there was a whole lot more animals and people on the earth. And they got compressed into oil. Okay?
There we go. Oil is people. You heard it here first. Spread the word. Kent Hovind legitimately believes that oil is made of people.
All right.
I'll let you go, Doc.
All right. They're going to, brother, when they find my jawbone, they're going to think I was a woman. It's going to be worn out. So I've been talking about.
Ah, we can't end the stream without some casual misogyny. I hate a dick, Kent.
Bunch today. See you tomorrow. No, I got a day off. Sunday morning. Oh, back to Psalms. This is a good one. I love it. See you. Bye.
Okay, so that was that. We, well, the ending made it all worth it. I don't have comment. I don't have comment. Damn. So anyway, as I always mention, links in the description to other fun projects and the like. You know, I've got forums that one of our Discord members was made aware of today and already likes. Go check those out. Yeah, got the image board, secret bonus point, finalzone.net is the forums. Revertivepulse.net, MaxMPP server, Discord links down there. If you're somehow watching this and not a member, it'll be down there. And yeah, I don't have much else to say. Soylent Green was actually a pretty decent movie. Another one I've never actually seen. I need to check that out. What an Asshole, that is most definitely Hovind. It's interesting to note that he claims to not know about the fraudulent claims about the scans, yet he claims to know fucking everything, well, unless it puts him in a tough position. Yeah. And he's going to say, I don't know how you'd, discover what's under there. I guess the ground penetrating radar, when that's not even how that shit works. But I digress. Oil is people. We got to stop them somehow. Yeah, exactly. All right. Probably going to stream again a little later. Just going to take a moment, take a break, relax, get prepped, maybe rest a little bit, and then come back strong. Don't know what we'll do later. The weekends are always kind of a wild card. We're going to have some fun today. That much I can say for sure. I just don't know what we're going to follow up with. But yeah, hey, if you want something good, Simon Dan did an interview with Jeranism. It's an hour long. Really good stuff right there. So go check that out. But anyway, I'm going to hop off here. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. If you're watching this after the fact and you made it this far, thanks for sticking around. Consider subscribing, liking, all that jazz. All the YouTube things. Do the YouTube things. catch everyone next time as I knock over stuff on my desk.